They say science is built on the shoulders of giants because we can trace our quest for knowledge to the ancient Greeks and beyond, with each discovery being built upon the last. But the phrase can be applied beyond that. Our society is giant shoulders all the way down. We can trace its developments to the fall of the Roman Empire and beyond, each and every philosophical, political, and moral development being a consequence, a continuation from the previous. When we abolished slavery, it wasn't because we suddenly saw it as wrong, but because we applied existing philosophy regarding rights consistently, which meant that it had to be. When we extended the right to vote to women, it wasn't because we decided to one day do it, but because of philosophical change. The rights outlined in the Charter were not chosen at random, and we cannot arbitrarily add to them. Certain people have been deemed important enough to be remembered. These giants are whose shoulders upon which we stand, and many were erected statues as commemoration of their contribution. And it is these statues that the radical far left target. They target them because these statues are like a nail through time, a spike into the past. They anchor us to our history, a history they seek to detach us from and steer us to where they desire. Because a nation is not made up of a land or a race, but of a people, and people are made of their culture. A culture is made of its traditions, and its traditions are anchored in its history. Therefore, if you remove its history, you cast adrift the traditions, which unravels the culture and makes people easily manipulated, which changes the nation. But it needn't be a statue, nor at the national level. In my town, there is a tree, a very old tree, older than any path or road or building here. It is older than Canada itself, but twice as old in fact. And under this tree, a trading station was founded, which led to the creation of this town. In 1835, a revolution was planned under this tree, which gave it its name, the Liberty Tree. Not that they teach you that in history class. It was deemed by the town council as a heritage spot, yet it sits suffocating under an apartment's parking lot. This nail, this anchor, which has stood for 3 centuries, has survived countless cold winters as easy firewood, survived the invasion of the Americans, the revolution planned under it, the confederation of this country, World War I, World War II, the urbanization of this town. It has seen countless young couples fall in love, many children grow old and die. It has seen the entire main street of this town rise up 1 story. But it will not survive the pro-diversity, pro-environment leadership of our current mayor, because a history untold is forgotten, and a forgotten history might as well not have happened. And it's not like these people are floating, that they aren't standing on their own giant shoulders, because they are. Everyone is. When they tear down and decapitate John A. Macdonald's statue, when they call our country systemically racist or sexist, when they say we need to change our traditions, when they rename our streets and our buildings, when they tear down and replace our history, our statues, our symbols, our anchors to our history, they do it to replace our giants, upon whose shoulders we have stood and grown and climbed, with their own, with the likes of Marx, Mao, Hitler, Lenin, and Stalin, with giants who have more blood on their hands than every single giant we stand on combined. When Orwell wrote 1984, he didn't use some straw man he cooked up of a totalitarian regime as a method of fear-mongering. He took what they did and put it into a science fiction setting as a warning. And history happens fast in a book. 2 years can happen in 2 sentences. When he wrote that every statue and street and building had been renamed, they weren't renamed overnight. Today it's McDonald. Who's next? Mackenzie? Laurier? Whose stone head will roll next from their historical guillotine? Where will they stop? I'll tell you where they'll stop. When every single piece of our history is torn down, when every giant has been felled, when every book has been burned, and when our heritage has been cancelled, our traditions are forgotten, our culture set adrift, our society in shambles, and built from the rubble of our nation, their own, on the shoulders of despots and dictators, baptized in the blood of innocence, and built on the merits of mediocrity. They will destroy everything you know and love if you stay quiet. Our parents built statues of their giants. We will build statues of ours, and our children will build statues of theirs. Yet no person is perfect, no citizen is a saint, no individual is impeachable. We are all flawed with our own faults and failures, with shortcomings and challenges. What sort of a society is it where we only remember the faults and flaws of the person, where the only people we celebrate are the perfect and impeachable? One where we are only good as our lowest moment. Not one I wish to live in. It would be one where we make no progress, have no virtue, forego the world all of our forefathers sought to create. So may he without sin throw the first stone, that those of impeachable character, of perfect, unassailable virtue, toss the first rope, make the first tug, slay the first giant, topple the first statue. The only people that celebrate perfect heroes are religious, because only religions have them. They will tear down our country, our nation, our culture, and our traditions. They will stand on the rubble, the ashes, and the ruins, among scorched earth and salted fields, raze towns and torch cities. They will still tell you to check your privilege, that you are a racist, a colonizer, guilty for the sins of your father or the one before him. They will undo 1,000 years of progress and call themselves progressive. We cannot stand for this destruction of the West, the single most fair and free civilization to ever exist. These statues are just the beginning, and none of us will like the end.